Evening, Commissioners, Chiefs, and Commanders. Michaela Davis with the ACLU of Northern California. I just want to repeat what we said at other meetings and bring out a few more details. We just want to repeat that the fact remains that tasers are not a simple alternative to firearms, and the idea that tasers are harmless is false. In addition to the risks of death and serious injury that can result, we have the high cost of equipment. We have the risk of attendant litigation that goes along with excessive use of force cases. We have the risk of overuse and unnecessary use. And we've got the risk of disproportionate impact of taser use on communities of color. I know we've talked a lot about the statistics about 6 officer-involved shootings this past year, and I guess my question is, I would assume that if tasers are introduced, they're going to be used a lot more than 6 times over the course of the year. And so that raises the question to me, what kind of encounters will they be used in? And I brought back to what the Houston study done that said that in the first few years, 50% of the taser use was for kind of your garden variety encounters, disturbances, noise complaints, traffic stops. And I think that's what we're concerned about when we keep talking about, drawing those specific lines about permissive use. And when we really, talk about why we need this, I agree with some of the other past speakers that if we haven't had a decrease in officer-involved shootings, I do think that's a success, and I think that's commendable, and I think maybe that does have to do with implementing some of these de-escalation techniques. So the question for me is why not keep going with that progress rather than adding another tool to the less lethal arsenal? As I understand it,
let's take that question.
We are going to continue with the de-escalation techniques.
What I guess a follow-up would be, we've heard about how you have other less lethal alternatives in your arsenal already, such as beanbags or pepper spray. And if we're talking about the chocolate factory incident as a justification for needing tasers, I would love to hear a report, or if you can release some of that to the public, about whether those options were considered in that incident, whether or not a beanbag would or could have been used, whether or not pepper spray would or could have been used. I don't have enough of the details, but that would be interesting to know if that event could have been dealt with in another way besides a firearm, if it was not a taser, it was something else. I think one thing we're also, we risk I think we risk alienation of the community as well. I think it's important to see the community output, the sort of people speaking out against tasers. And I think it would behoove us, as others have said, to make the rest of the process transparent as well, and that we have more a presentation of findings and opportunities for comment, rather than this coming up sort of for an up and down vote with just a week's notice. So I would encourage the Commission and yourself, Chief, to really sort of build that into the process. I know that people would love the time, to know when this vote is coming up so we can offer further comment.
Yes. I will guarantee you that there will be now up and down vote, and there won't be a week's notice if we decide to act on it.
Thank you.